I'm still getting set up and the rattle reel is already popping. This might be a good night. I'm gonna see if I can catch this fish. I think it might be a pike by how much it's running. There we go. Ooh, this is gonna be a mess. Already on the board, and I didn't even get the chance to do my intro. So tonight we are ice camping, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite things to do, especially when the fish are biting. But here we go. It's just a solid little pike for starters. Tonight we might be expecting some more pike. We might be expecting some walleyes potentially. We might be expecting some crappies. There's a lot of different fish swimming around in this area, and I think it's going to be a really fun night. I'm going to get this guy back in the water and get back to setting up the hub house. This is why I tend to prefer using dead sticks when I have set lines set up in the hub house and I'm awake, because sometimes rattle reels can make a huge, enormous mess of getting all tangled up, and that's the case right now. But the one thing that is nice about rattle reels is it's going to be nice and loud. You don't have to be paying attention to the rod tip. If you're using a dead stick, obviously you got to watch the rod tip. It's going to come down, and not with the rattle reels. It's going to be nice and loud, and I really need to get finished setting up this hub house, but first I'm going to get this line in the water. All right, now that I have everything set up and somewhat dialed in here, I'm going to give you a really quick tour. So right here, connected to this hub, is the rattle reel where I just popped that pike, and we're just kind of going to move in this direction, rotating around the house. I have a hook. That's something, this is the first time that I've tried, where I got my jacket hanging up. I got an extra battery right there. I have a bucket that's filled with a bunch of stuff. I have one of those fancy power boxes from Dakota Lithium that powers the lighting system. I got one light over there and then another light over there, and I can dim it, turn it off with this little switch right here. And going from there, I have the propane tank outside. It's coming through that hole, and there's my heater. And then I kind of just have a big pile of stuff over here on this side. That's my tripod. That is a camera bag, and then the clothing bag. And then kind of right in the direct middle of the house, I have my jigging hole right there. That's the Mega Live big pole with the transducer on it. And then of course the actual Mega Live unit right there, which is pretty darn sweet. So as you can see right there, that is the minnow. These are my split shots. And then this is actually a swivel right at the top, where the top of the fluorocarbon leader is on this rattle reel setup over here. So that's what that is looking at. And then of course I got my jigging spoon right there in the middle. So this is kind of this half over here. We have the entrance area right here, a nice door you can walk through that goes all the way down to the floor so you're not tripping over it. And got another hook in this corner where I've got my bibs kind of hanging out there, and I also got the boot still on it, which is a little bit creepy. But here we got the bait, and I turned off the bubbler for this little video, but keeping the minnows alive. Another charger right there, which is going up and charging my cell phone, which is, I'm kind of shadowing, it's hard to see, but I have the Otter Sidekick right here, which is really nice. You just pop that on a bucket. I also use it in my flip over shacks, which is just a nice little holder and easy to get stuff, and cup holders and whatnot. I kind of weirdly have my laptop hanging right here. And then back in this corner, where it's super dark and you can't see anything, I got just a bunch of food and miscellaneous things. And then lastly, just over here, I got my bed. I have a nice super firm cot and a bunch of blankets. I have another pad hidden back behind there which could give me a little bit more cushion if I wanted it. So I'll probably set that up later. But oh, last but not least, right here I have a rag just in case I actually happen to catch a fish, so I can dry my hands off quick and easy, and I don't have to use my blankets or whatever to dry off. And I also have my tackle boxes down there. So yeah, you probably can't see that because the shadows, but yeah, so that's a quick and easy, and when I say quick, obviously I mean like 3+ minutes, which is not quick at all when you're talking YouTube videos. But that's a quick run through of what I got going on in this hub house, and it is gonna be a wild and crazy night apparently. So I guess there's a big storm coming through, and it's gonna be like 30-40 mile-an-hour winds, which is, if you've ever fished in a hub house, maybe not super ideal, but I kind of have a lot of faith that we're gonna be in good shape. I got this hub right here tied down to the snowmobile. So I also have all 3 corners of the house basically pegged down. So we're not going anywhere. This house is not going anywhere despite the big storm blizzard that we got going on. I don't think I shot any footage before I set this house up because it was getting dark real fast. It was pretty late and I just wanted to get this thing up and ready. But there was a lot of snow on the ground. We just had a big blizzard come through, and this is kind of round 2 tonight. So hopefully we catch some fish. Hopefully we don't blow away. But either way, we're gonna have a good time out here. Also, I forgot to mention one thing. It is these foam pads down here. Now, every time I do a video on ice camping, I always have people ask, holy cow, things are shaking in here. I always have people ask me about those pads, and they always say, you know, oh, do they work great, or oh, where did you get those? And the short answer to that is yes, they work great. It's actually nice because it insulates the floor a little bit, so you have less cold air coming up, and also it creates like a nice dry platform, or relatively dry platform for you to walk around on in here. And for me, that's a must when I'm ice camping out here in a hub house like this. And yeah, where you can get them specifically, I think that you could probably get them at a lot of different hardware stores and whatnot, but where I get them is just on Amazon. And if I can remember, and I might not remember because there's kind of a lot of stuff going on, but if I can remember, I will link some up down below in the description. But it's really nothing crazy. If you just go to Amazon and type in garage floor mats foam or anything like that, they should pop up. And something that kind of complements the foam pads is a pair of slip-on shoes, whether it's moccasins or it's Crocs or whatever you're into. It can be nice to have some slip-on shoes. So, you know, sometimes when you catch a fish, water flips around and gets on the mats and it takes a while to dry off. So it's nice to have something that's comfortable like that so your socks aren't getting wet. Anyway, now I'm just rambling, so let's get to fishing. So obviously there's not like a ton of activity going on. It was cool that we caught that first fish on a rattle reel like right away as I was setting up. But what probably happened there was it was just sort of like a late evening, early nighttime bite window that we caught on. And it's not uncommon to be out fishing in the middle of the night and have really long periods of no activity. And I really haven't seen any fish really come through on the screen. So I'm gonna head to bed, and we got 1 rattle reel, 2 rattle reels ready to go with kind of, they both have shiners on them. One's got like a big shiner and the other one's got a smaller shiner. So who knows, maybe a crappie will pop on the smaller shiner and maybe like a walleye or a pike on the big shiner, we'll see. Or maybe a walleye or pike on the small shiner. You never know, but we got a variety of baits down there, and I'm gonna try and get some shut-eye. As you can probably tell, because everything is just like shaking and you can probably hear a lot of wind noise. It's really windy out there tonight, and supposedly we're gonna have like 30-40 mile-an-hour winds, but I'm really not worried at all. I feel like this thing is really bolted down to the ice super tight, so we shouldn't have any issues other than the fact that, you know, some of those tie down ropes might be a little loud as they're vibrating in the wind, but We'll see if I can get some good sleep though. I got a nice solid mat. I got a pad on top of it. I got a bunch of blankets, a pillow, and all the ambient noise I could ever ask for. So I'm gonna get to sleep, and I will let you know if any of these rattle reels pop off tonight.
At my phone. There we go. Look at that. A nice good sized perch for this morning's activities. That's a pretty good one. If we were in the eating perch mood, this one would definitely fall within that category. So if you'd stop moving, you could take a good look at him right there. Nice. Get him back. Little morning activity. It was definitely huffing and puffing last night as far as the weather was going. This whole house was just shaking, and it was real loud and crazy, and I had to make sure that I added a couple extra spikes on some of the corners of the hubs there. But we made it through the night, and now we're fishing here this morning. And apparently the perch are snapping. There's something around here. There's one. There we go. Another perch. Wow, that's a big one. This one's even bigger than the last one. Let's see if I can... This is a good perch. Check this guy out. That is what I would consider a jumbo. I do not have a measuring stick close, but this is a pretty good one. Sweet. Alright, get him back. So like I said, I just woke up recently. We're gonna fish for a while in here. I don't know how this whole like sleeping overnight then fishing the next day thing works when we're doing a video every day, but anyway, thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video. I really love these ice camping adventures, and sometimes even when the conditions are super nasty and it's blowing and it's a blizzard, it's still a lot of fun. So tune in for the next video. It'll be coming out tomorrow, and I think the next video is going to start right here in the hub house. I'm definitely planning on getting out of here, doing some hole hopping, looking around on this lake, because it's pretty cool. Obviously there's pike that we caught in the beginning of this video, and then there's big giant jumbo perch, and apparently there's big walleyes in here too. So we're gonna do some hunting around today, or today in the next video, so make sure to check that out, and we will see you then.